it's off to a great start because I am actually running late for my opera rehearsal. I had to teach in person about an hour before I had to leave. Luckily it was only a 30-minute lesson, so I quick ate dinner after I taught that, and then I had to get the kids cleaned up. Thankfully my husband was there, but it's kind of been a disaster. But yeah, here's 3 days in the life of a freelance musician, living the dream. Hopefully rehearsal goes well tonight. I haven't had a chance to check what my reeds are doing this afternoon, which makes me a little nervous, but I'll try to get some footage during rehearsal. For those who are familiar with Aida, has a huge oboe solo in the third act. It's about 5 minutes long, and it's basically a duet with the soprano. And it's a really lovely solo that's often asked for on auditions, and it's nerve-wracking to say the least. So I've been having to make a ton of reads for this performance just so that by the time I get to the third act, I don't sound like my reeds are halfway to the grave. So basically the way I've been prepping for this, in between taking care of the kids and keeping the house clean and all that day-to-day stuff, is making sure that I have a bunch of reeds in rotation that are working, because opera is an entirely different beast than symphonic playing, for example, or even ballet, because it's just so much music and the operas are so much longer, and there's so many rehearsals too, so you have to have a reed or several reeds that will make it through that many hours of playing. So I'm about 20 minutes away. It's downtown, which for Rochester, you would say that's kind of far away, but since I've been living in San Francisco the last few years and got used to driving 40 minutes to an hour to get to any gig, 20 minutes seems pretty close. But usually I like to be in my seat half an hour before downbeat, just so that I can set up my reeds and make sure everything's working. So that should be fun. It's going to be a lot of FaceTime, but it's worth it.
So I did my fried
Tonight I'm prepping for tomorrow's first show. We have had 3 rehearsals so far, which have gone okay. To be honest, I'm struggling a little bit in rehearsals this year, especially since having my second child, and I've not had nearly as much time to work on reeds or to practice. So welcome to the real world. Welcome to motherhood. Rehearsals have been a little bit of a struggle this week, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what that looks like just in terms of being a freelancer and a working mom. We have had, like I mentioned before, we had 3 rehearsals this week. So we had a 3-hour rehearsal on Monday, 3 hours Tuesday evening, 3 hours on Wednesday. Both of those went pretty late, so I didn't get home until 11 p.m. So my husband was with the kids. And honestly, I don't feel like I have a single reed that works for the show tomorrow night. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm scraping reeds rather frantically, trying to get something that plays in tune. If you have any oboist friends, you probably notice that they're constantly complaining about reeds and perhaps blaming the reeds for all their life's problems. To be honest, I do that a lot too. Reeds are just the bane of our existence. So right now I'm wrapping a couple new reeds. I'm scraping them in to an initial day 1 phase. You can see it's a very raw form of a reed. It's not even clipped open yet. I'm probably going to get it clipped open tonight, and then I'll let it rest for tomorrow, and perhaps they'll be ready for tomorrow night, but more likely they will be ready for Sunday's matinee. Molly has been nervous all day long because there's been really loud booming noises outside. I think there's some construction going on down the road, so she's underfoot at all times. Right, Molly? Very nervous puppy. Good morning. Today is our final performance of Aida, so I'm just getting some of my reeds ready to go, checking that everything is still functioning. I ended up taking all of yesterday off because I've been playing so much lately and getting a little burnt out on reeds, and I just needed a break. But today's our final performance. We have a matinee, so I'm checking some of the trickier parts in the solo. By now I know it pretty well. My fingers are pretty comfortable just running through things, so running through it slowly just ingrains it in my brain a bit. So I'm running through those parts. I'm making sure I have at least a few reeds that'll get me through 3 hours of playing, and we'll see how it goes. I'm about to walk into our final performance right now, which will be a breath of fresh air. Just, even though I love Aida and love playing opera, playing the same 3-hour opera 6 times in 1 week is a little bit tiring.